What mind-blowing, but simple, facts would satisfy a 4-year-old daughter's daily request for one fact before bedtime? In the light spectrum all colors combined equal white, while in art all colors combined equals black. The speed needed to break the sound barrier is lowest at sea level due to air density. There was more time between the Stegosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus rex than between Tyrannosaurus rex and humans. Horses can't vomit. The distance from your inner elbow to your wrist is the same as the length of your foot. This one is fun because it sounds insane. The forearm looks longer, but if you put your foot to your arm you see that it's accurate. If you put both hands in front of you and dare write a word, your non-dominant hand will write an exact mirror of your dominant hand without you having to think about it. It will work with shapes too if she's too young to write words. You've got 253 comments as of this post, op. Only 112 more to go for a full year's worth of facts. Here's mine: the Romans were some of the first people to wear bikinis. Brigadier Sir Nils Olav is a king penguin. He is Colonel-in-Chief of the Norwegian King's Guard, as well as the mascot. He currently lives in the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland. Deleted. Humans are bioluminescent and glow in the dark, but the light that we emit is 1,000 times weaker than our human eyes are able to pick up. I once told my son that there was a scientist for everything. So we started a tradition where he'd pick something to see if there were people that studied it, and I'd give some age-appropriate examples of what they do. Edit, thank you for the silver. Might suggest the study of metals and alloys and when we use what kind. He's always talking about the different eras of human history, primitive age, modern age, future age etc. So it'd be a good segue to Iron Age, Bronze Age. Editing again to add, since it's been mentioned in so many replies, apparently the podcastologies is like this, may not have the most family-friendly vocabulary, but I don't know, I haven't listened to any of it. Wombat poo is cube-shaped. For a while Melbourne was called Batmania. The elephant is the only mammal that can't jump. Deleted. What body part grows 10 times its size when stimulated? Greater than the pupil of the eye. Less than. Some species of burrowing spiders keep teeny tiny frogs in their burrows to keep it free of bugs too small for the spider to get that might try to eat the spider's eggs. This means that tiny frogs are spider cats. Otters have skin pockets for their favorite rocks. A Siamese cat's fur color is dependent on its body temperature. That's why the colder areas of the body such as the nose, paws, and tail are darker than the rest. As far as we know, Mars is entirely inhabited by robots. A day on Venus takes longer to complete than a year on Venus. How? It simply takes longer for Venus to do one complete rotation around its own axis, than it does for the planet to rotate around the Sun. Edit, from my memory I believe it's only like 10 to 15 days difference. But still an interesting fact. Another fun fact is aluminium used to be such a precious metal, and so expensive, that the top point of the Washington Monument is made of pure aluminium. At the time of construction, that aluminium would be about like capping it with platinum today. 6-year-olds laugh an average of 300 times a day. Mint is good for repelling mice. Balls lose their bounce when stored in the freezer. Sharks don't blink. A snowflake takes around 2 hours to reach the ground. Clinophobia is the fear of going to bed. A woodpecker can peck 20 times per second. Camels have 3 eyelids. A new star is born in our galaxy every 18 days. The building in the world with the most toilets is Wembley Stadium. Cows get excited when they solve puzzles. The filling in a Kit Kat is broken up Kit Kats. One time a guy ate an aeroplane. It took him several years but he did it. The little jump guinea pigs do when they're happy is called popcorning. When a cat walks towards you with its tail up, that means it likes you and is excited to see you. Elephants have a noise that means there are bees here. Let's leave immediately. They played golf on the moon one time. I will add more if I think of them. What topics does she like? The name for the Arctic comes from the ancient Greek word for bear, Arctis. named after one of the constellations Ursa Major, Big Bear, or Ursa Minor, Little Bear, but there are bears living there too. So basically, the Arctic is called Bear, and the Antarctic is called not Bear. Edit, slight fact correction, thanks you/Wolfie Rampant. A platypus lays eggs, and has milk, making it the only mammal that could in theory make its own custard. Rabbits usually sleep during the day, but they often sleep with their eyes open so you can't tell. If you look closely, sleeping bunnies don't twitch their noses, smile. When a dog is play fighting with you, they sneeze to tell you that they're playing. Most people have more than the average number of arms. Hey, my big book of useless information may finally come in handy. The sleepiest mammals are armadillos, sloths, and opossums. They sleep roughly 80% of their lives. The jump rope dates back to around 400 years ago, when Egyptian children would jump over vines. People used to make little circuses with fleas. It started around 14th century Asia but peaked in popularity in 16th century Great Britain. Pennies were introduced in 1787, and more than 300 billion pennies have been made. Now there's about 150 billion pennies, enough to wrap around the earth 137 times. There are only about 40 1943 pennies, one sold for $112,500 in 1999. One of the founders of this coffee empire was a fan of the book Moby Dick, and wanted to name the company after the story's fabled ship Pequod, but they settled instead on naming the company after the ship's first mate, Starbuck. Bunnies can't move their legs independently, which is why they can't walk, only hop. Is anyone else just reading these great lists to satisfy your inner 4-year-old? There is a planet in our solar system populated entirely by robots. Ask her to give you one fact in exchange of one fact. This will encourage her to learn more and try to meet the daily one fact before bed. A horse with a horn is called a unicorn. A horse with wings is called a pegasus. A horse with a horn and wings is a pegacorn. This is useful knowledge for 4-year-old girls, and she should practice getting it correct now. As an extra bonus, Mandarin for zebra translates as ribbon horse. Similarly, giraffes are long-necked deer, and pandas are big bear cats. That fact that you're asking this just shows that you are probably a phenomenal parent. Bats are more closely related to humans than they are to rats. Bats have webbed fingers which allow them to fly. The world's smallest bat is the size of a bumblebee. Not all bats come out at night, some bats come out during the daytime. Some bats only eat fruit. Some bats make their house, nest, according to gender. You'll have an all-male nest and an all-female nest with the babies. Baby bats are called pups. A single bat can eat half of their body weight, or up to 1,000 mosquitoes, a night. Last but not least, bats are awesome. Smile.